All right, welcome to the first episode of May edition, the sports edition. My name is Seyi. He is Jacee. Estimated November 23. Jacee, how are you doing?
I'm doing really good, man. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing straight. I know we haven't done a show in like years, it seemed like.
12
So
years.
12 years. Yeah, I was 16 back then, sweet 16, but now I am a 28. And I said 28. There's only 8 teams that need to be in the playoffs. So we got a playing tournament. Hey, I had to try with that transition. I don't know if that really worked out too well, but
boy, that was a stretch.
That was a
Oh man,
that was a stretch, but it's a playing tournament stretching it for some teams, like 10th seeds. Should we have a playing tournament? Is LeBron right? LeBron says whoever came up with this shit, quote unquote, should be fired.
Yeah, powerful quote from the king, right? Powerful quote.
Yeah. More powerful now that because his team's in the playing tournament right now. Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's why.
We don't know. We don't question the king.
No,
we don't question the king.
Yeah, no, we sure don't. But I don't know about you, but I gotta say, Lakers playing the Warriors in a playing game, not really against it. To be honest with you, not really against it. I kind of want to see Steph Curry try to drop 70 points to try and make the playoffs as a 7.
So the
LeBron.
injured king and friends versus the Stephen Currys.
Yeah.
I got the injured king and friends.
I mean, you can have the injured king and friends, but I just want this seat next to the court. I just want to watch it. I don't even care what happens because Steph has been absolutely unbelievable. You can even debate as a 9 seed that he's the MVP of the league. Like, you would actually make a really good case that
to me, really he's number 2 to Jokic. He is number 2 to Jokic for me.
I think you can make a really good case for that. I think you can make a really good case. I would probably make the same case. I think it's pretty ridiculous how garbage this Warriors team is, like legitimately terrible.
They would be getting Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
Or Jalen Green.
Yeah.
Or Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
No question. If you take out Steph Curry out.
Do they have both their picks this year?
Do they?
I don't know if did they get rid of one of their picks? Did they do a swap this year? Did they do a swap?
We could check that. But if they did, I'm pretty sure it's protected.
Yeah, because I know they have the Minnesota pick because they have that back-to-back years. And I know that they're praying that it doesn't hit top 4. I think it's top 4 protected. Is it top 4 protected?
Yes, actually, OKC receives first round pick, but it's top 20 protected. So they're going to make they're in the top 20, so it's going to be their pick.
So they have OKC's top 20 protected, or OKC has their top 20 protected pick.
OKC has their top 20 protected, and obviously, like, they're going to be the top 20 pick, so it's going to be their pick. It's going to be Warriors' pick.
Yeah, it's going to be. Hopefully, unless something happens.
I doubt it. They're getting out the first round. If they actually make it through the playing tournament, they are not making it past the first round. Because when you have players,
you can, if they get out in the first round, they can still make the top 20.
No, but I'm saying they're not getting out. I meant they're not getting out the first round. They are not getting out the first round. I guarantee it.
Okay.
In Charles Barkley voice, I guarantee that they're not getting out past the first round. Because in a playoff format, when you're playing the same team multiple times, it's easier to game plan for one person. Ask the Rockets about that with the James Harden era. Right. It's easier to game plan for one person.
I'm just. Listen, you sound angry. I'm just making a suggestion.
Oh no, I'm not angry. It's just my voice is congested.
It's from all
but
this.
I'm not angry.
It's because the Lord wants you to stop the Steph Curry blasphemy. That's what's happening.
I'm saying with Steph Curry that Steph Curry is a great player. Mm-hmm. But when you're playing with Mikal Mulder and Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, then I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a breeze getting through this team.
Yeah, it's tough. I gotta say, I think the King is absolutely wrong. Is that disrespectful to say? I think he's absolutely wrong.
I don't question the King. While I don't agree with the King, I do not question the King.
Yeah, I don't question him, but I definitely really don't agree with him. I think it's a I think it's terrible that he would say that because the playing games are absolutely lit. You're telling me that you don't want to see LaMelo Ball go up against this really weird ISO Boston Celtics team? I actually kind of don't, because there's going to be absolutely zero defense played that entire game. But I still want to see Tatum and LaMelo on the same court. Yeah, I want to see Sabonis versus the two-headed dragon of Westbrook and Bradley Beal. And I want this to be an NCAA tournament, one game only, play-in game. That is the most entertaining thing I could possibly think of. Who doesn't want that?
Hey, while I think the playing tournament is really fun, like just watching it last season during the bubble period,
Yeah, and
it was extremely entertaining.
Now we add two more teams. Yeah, sign me up. I'm in.
While I do think it's extremely entertaining, is it fair? Now that's the question I have. I don't think it's really fair, because let's say if the playoffs start today and the Pacers, number 10 seed, are playing the Celtics, and the Pacers beat the Celtics in the play-in tournament. Celtics are eliminated. Pacers are in. Is that really fair?
Yeah.
The Pacers are a 10th seed for a reason.
The Celtics are.
Should we reward the 10th seed? But yeah, because the Celtics
are.
But
first of all, the Pacers are 4 games behind. They've dealt with ridiculous injuries, traded teammates, a bunch of different things that happened. So yeah,
bad coach hiring.
Bad coach hiring. Like, yeah, if the Pacers beat the Celtics, would it be sad? Yeah, but dude, honestly, after watching the Celtics team, honestly, after watching this team, to be honest, if they miss it, it's their fault. They
okay, well, let's
right.
Let's switch it to the West then. Okay. I agree with you. So let's switch it to the West.
I'm going to be even more passionate about it.
What about your? I know, because it's your team.
Yeah,
but your team has a losing record. The San Antonio Spurs, 32-35. If they go against the 38-30 Los Angeles Lakers and they beat the Lakers, is it really fair? Because the Spurs have a losing record. They should not be rewarded in overstepping the Lakers. The Lakers are eliminated when they worked hard in the regular season to get that 7th seed, especially if they're only a game behind from the 6th seed and 2 games behind from the 5th seed. So, like, I love the play-in tournament, but if LeBron's point is that it's not fair, I have to agree with him. It is not fair. Okay. It's fun for TV. It's good for TV, but it's not fair.
First of all, if you're in the 7 and 8 seed, it is fair, because if you lose, you get another chance. If you lose, you get another chance. If LeBron and Steph,
but Lakers will still finish with a better record than the Spurs, even if they get eliminated by the Spurs.
But you know this: if LeBron loses to Golden State, he should not lose to the Grizzlies or the Spurs. No matter what the occasion is, he shouldn't lose. So, therefore, by your logic, how can he lose? How can he lose? He has a winning record. What's there to be afraid of? What is there to be afraid of? You have a winning record. You're better.
So what's the point of having a better record than the teams? That's just what I'm saying. What's the point of having a better record than the teams?
Look, if you're
like, we just might as well be a 10th seed then.
If I'm being honest, I don't really have anything to say. I think that I think you're right when it comes to the losing record.
I am right.
The losing record versus the winning record.
It ain't fair. It ain't fair.
I'm not gonna say it's not fair though, because it's entertaining. It's entertaining.
It is entertaining. I enjoy it.
Look. The Spurs are 6 games behind the Lakers. They're 6 games behind. You're sitting there like, oh my God, it's not fair. This and this and that. They're 6 games behind. That's not that many games. We had the LaMarcus crap.
That's a big difference in the table.
Crap. We've had injuries.
They're not even 500.
We're close.
Lakers had injuries, obviously. That's why they're a 7th seed.
We're way worse than the Lakers, though. We're way worse. So injuries to
exactly.
us,
That's why y'all should not be in the play-in tournament with them.
Injuries to us are way more devastating than it is to
LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That ain't. It's way more devastating than losing LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That is their whole team. Yeah, but that is the Lakers. Yeah, but that is the reason why they were a 2 seed to a 7 seed.
We were a 4 seed in the West at one point. That's all I'm saying. We were a 4 seed in the West, and
you were overachieving.
Yeah, and we were severely overachieving, and then we had injuries, and then we had the LaMarcus.
Now you're just achieving.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not gonna take it. The blasphemy. I'm not gonna take it. I'm not gonna take the blasphemy.
I'm just being real.
You're being.
You know, I'm just being real.
Greg Popovich.
See, I don't have a specific team I'm a homer for, at least in the NBA. So I can be real. I can put you in perspective.
Mhm.
I can put anyone in perspective about their teams
Sure.
because I don't have a homer for any team in the NBA. While I have a favorite team of the year, this year was the Cavaliers just because they have a couple of hometown boys, even though they're not passing the ball. I mean, I don't have a homer team. So I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah, by the way, didn't really work out for you, did it?
No, I didn't.
Cavaliers thing.
Horrible.
You want to talk about that now? Or
Absolutely horrible. We can talk about it now. Okay, absolutely horrible.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about it now. Obviously, we were we were severely wrong about a couple teams. I predicted the Detroit Pistons to have an absolute turnaround of a season. Didn't happen.
Trash.
And you predicted that pace. I think were they second in the East, second or third? Can't remember. They were really high. And you said
for Cavaliers, they were top. Yes. They were top 6. They were number 6 at one point. I thought
they were third.
They weren't that high. They were like 6 or 5. Okay. They weren't that high though.
I thought they were super high. Yeah, you said Colin Sexton was going to have an All-Star year. You said
Sexland. I was buying into it. You said I was buying into the land of the sex.
You said
the Sexland.
You said Drummond was playing terrific basketball.
I definitely didn't say that one. I can tell you for a fact I did not say that one.
Didn't say that
I can.
But you said he was.
I definitely didn't say that.
You definitely said he worked.
I said he was working until he decides to not work.
Yeah, you said Okoro has a chance of making an all-defensive team.
I said in his career. I did not say his rookie year. You're putting words in my mouth now. Yes, I said in his career he can. I didn't say his rookie year.
I'm just saying. But we were.
I said wrong. Colin Sexton could make an All-Star team. You were right about that. I said that.
Yeah, you did say that, and yeah, that didn't work. What happened with Cleveland there? You think? What did you? Where do you think Cleveland's season went wrong?
Andre Drummond.
It's a good one.
So,
or do you think it was? Not
I say it's Andre. I think it was both. So, It was Andre Drummond after they got Jared Allen from that Brooklyn Nets trade. Mm-hmm. And after they got Jared Allen, Andre Drummond felt some type of way. He thought he was the big man on campus until life came at him quick.
Yep.
When he realized that the Cavaliers didn't really like him that way. They didn't really think of him that way. They didn't really like you like that, like what Draymond said to Paul Pierce. So he decided, you know what? I'm going to start playing like I'm Kyrie again. And I'm going to put the ball on the floor. I'm going to be extra inefficient. And I'm going to be a burden to this team. Until Cavaliers said enough. We're just not going to play you anymore. Let him get bought out. Got signed to the Lakers. And then all of a sudden, Colin Sexton, you know what? I'm going to learn from my old vet, Andre. And I'm not going to pass the ball. And that's how it happened.
Yeah, it was a really tough season. It was a really tough season, and honestly, kind of really atrocious thing to watch. If I'm being honest with you, nobody was playing together. I still don't really understand this whole Darius Garland, Colin Sexton thing. I don't think it makes any sense at all.
It's a hot name.
Yeah,
it's a hot name.
They need to trade both of them. No, I'm just kidding. They need to trade one of those.
Nah.
They need to trade one of them.
Hey, we were saying this about McCollum and Damian Lillard early, and look what happened with them. At least give these young bulls time, okay? Give these young bulls time.
Yeah, and also I think honestly keeping on to Kevin Love is probably what it is. It's a curse.
And I forgot about Kevin Love. See,
it's a curse.
I didn't even mention Kevin Love because he's barely even there.
Yeah, I think they need to let him go. I think that's what it is. I think both of them need to move on. And as soon as they let him go, this curse can be lifted over Cleveland because they're just why are we keeping on to Kevin Love? It makes no sense. But yeah, it was tough. Detroit,
easiest job in the NBA right now. You get paid all this money, and all you gotta do is just dress up and look nice on courtside. You get paid to have courtside tickets. He gets paid millions of dollars to have courtside tickets. It's great. That's a great job to have.
How dare you? Detroit, on the other hand, also a pretty bad season. and I don't know if you remember what I said, but I said that I'm pretty sure I said that they were
Killian Hayes is going to be great.
Yeah, I said Yep, definitely said that. I said Sadiq Bey was going to be somebody, which I'm proud to say that was confirmed. That was confirmed.
But I mean, he played for. But I mean, if you watch him in Villanova, I mean,
yeah, true.
It's kind of a given he was going to be good.
Yeah. Trying to think what else I said about this team. I said Blake Griffin would probably be somebody. But first of all, that fake laugh is very,
you forgot he couldn't dunk.
Yeah, but hey,
you forgot he couldn't dunk.
Hey, he's been very good for Brooklyn, so I want to say that I was also correct about that. I don't care what you say. He's been very solid for Brooklyn. I don't really know what else I said about this team. I think I should have probably looked at the roster deeper. I said, oh yeah, they were young and they had a bunch of guys that I really liked.
When you realize a guy who was an offensive role player a previous season turns out to be a 20-a-game scorer, you should realize maybe this team is not that good.
Yeah. Jeremy Grant, efficient. I thought Sadiq Bey was great. I thought Killian Hayes would be something. I thought Josh Jackson might revive his career, maybe. Dennis Smith Jr.
I still think could be decent.
No, there's no way.
Josh Jackson could be decent. I didn't say he's going to be good. I say
I know. Decent. I heard you. There's no mistake.
But Dennis Smith.
Yeah, I thought Dennis Smith might be something, but Isaiah Stewart though. I
was rooting for him too.
I will say, I think I was right about the young guys though, because look, I like Sekou, I really do. I like Sekou. I like Isaiah Stewart, somebody we never mentioned. I like him. I think he's really good. Obviously Sadiq Bey, and I still think you know what? I'm not gonna put the flag down with Killian Hayes. I'm gonna give him 2 years. I'm gonna give him 2 more years.
Remember when we gave it another French point guard 2 years and what happened?
You know what? You're right. But I'm still going to give him 2 years because they drafted him. And there's nothing that we can do about it. But watching this team.
All jokes aside, I do feel like we should give him patience because, look, Darius Garland was the worst starting point guard in the NBA last season.
Pretty bad.
And at least he turns out to be a 16-a-game scorer.
Yeah.
Not saying he's like an upper echelon point guard right now, but it looks like he has the potential to be solid.
Yeah, and I think the funny thing is about both of these teams, actually, terrible, atrocious seasons, but some bright spots. Some bright spots on both the teams. I think Jared Allen is very good. I think that they should consider playing him. That would be very effective. I think that Okoro is very good as well. I think he has a bright future.
Let him know.
And yeah, I think the young talent on both of these teams, I think they're moving in the correct direction. That direction will be 30 years from now, but they're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I was about to say correct direction. How many years are these teams always? These teams have been young for like 10 years now, it seems like.
Yeah, but
when are they actually going to get out the rebuilding stage?
Yeah, but I haven't liked any of their young players, except for Cleveland, but I liked Colin Sexton.
Hey, I like Kevin Porter Jr., and look what happened. They gave him away.
Oh yeah,
I liked Ronnie Stuckey when he was young, and look what happened to him. His career fizzled out. I mean, how many years are we going to have this?
Hey, Kevin Porter.
When was the last time Detroit Pistons were actually good? I know they made the AFC like a couple years ago, but when they were actually since they had Chauncey Billups, Tayshaun Prince, like when was the last time they were actually good?
You know what? I don't know. You know what? The slander today. What's going on?
I'm just saying. I'm just being real.
Very heated today. Very heated today.
I'm just being real.
Yeah, I mean, look. The Pistons haven't been good since 2006, and it's been a tough decline. It's been a very tough decline. Look, man, they tried to revive the career of Allen Iverson. Didn't work. They tried. What else did they try? What was the Rodney Stuckey years? The Stuckey years. Yeah. They tried.
That's what I'm saying. I thought Stuckey was going to be a problem in the NBA. He was looking like D Wade 2.0 at one point, and look what happened.
Yeah, then you realized, they're just giving him all the shots. No wonder he's averaging 17 points a game. They're just letting him shoot every single possession. And I'm trying to think who was next to him. There's another guy who was really bad, and I can't remember who it was.
Kentavious Caldwell Pope.
That was a good one. That's a name right there. Yeah, KCP. Early KCP when we thought he was irrelevant before he became good with LeBron. Brandon Knight. That's a name.
Oh man, rest in peace to his career.
Yeah.
He is the most unluckiest player in NBA history. A guy who was actually really good. But if casuals won't know that because he kept getting dunked on and crossed every single time. And then he had serious injuries, which messed up his career.
Yeah. A guy who I really don't know how I feel about his career because I feel like he could have killed like 12, I think he could have killed like 20 years ago, Greg Monroe. I feel like I don't know how I feel about him now, but like if he played 20 years ago,
he was in the wrong era.
Yeah.
He was in the wrong era. If he was in the era with Shaq and Kobe back then yeah, he would be a 20 and 10 guy.
Yeah.
I remember when he was a free agent too, and the Lakers really wanted them on their team.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, did that not age well.
That did not age well. Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I think that was it. And then we moved into this really weird Luke Kennard era. I don't know. Can we call it that? Do we call it the Luke Kennard era? I guess.
If they would have drafted the next shooting guard on the draft board, it would have been Donovan Mitchell.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. But yeah, very wrong. But in the right direction.
If they would have drafted the next point guard in the draft board, it would have been Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah. But hey, 2027's our year. 2027's our year for Detroit.
And then 2027 is the year of OKC once they get every single draft pick known to man. So once 2027 happens for Detroit, they're going to say 2040.
Yeah, but we have to wait for those guys to develop. So that's like 2032. We have to wait for those guys.
No, because by the time it's 2027, Poskoshevsky will be like, what, 25, 26. Yeah. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander will be 28. Theo Meladon will be like 26. Like this team will already be like a top team right now with all this young talent they just stockpile. And then they get all these draft picks. They get Bronny on their team. Since Bronny's on their team, LeBron's going to be on their team. You're going to see LeBron in OKC. You're going to see LeBron in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's going to be one of the biggest. Oklahoma City's going to be one of the biggest cities in the world. We're going to be talking about Oklahoma City with New York just because LeBron's in there. Look what LeBron did to Cleveland. Like, this is going to be crazy in 2027.
First of all, you're missing the fact that all of those players will be playing for Golden State, the Lakers, the Knicks, the Nets, and Boston. All of those players would have got traded.
Not if Bronny gets drafted by OKC because they got all the draft picks.
No, by that time, yeah, they all would have just gone to different markets, and then Seattle would be back in the league. Everybody would have went to Seattle. Vegas would be in the league. Vancouver's back.
Yo, I'm telling you, like if anyone can invest in land right now, I'll invest in Oklahoma land. Once LeBron comes there in 2027, whatever year Bronny's eligible for the draft, it's over.
Yeah, shoot.
I'm investing in land in Oklahoma or in Houston. He's coming to one of those teams. They got all the draft picks. New Orleans. Like they got all the draft picks. So I'm investing in land in either of those three cities.
Bring basketball back to Seattle, right? Let's. I just want to throw a real quick shout out. Bring back basketball to Seattle. Are you on that wave or no?
But if we do bring it back to Seattle, that means we need another Eastern Conference team to balance it out. So
Pittsburgh.
Who wants to play in Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh is a great city. Did you just diss all of Pittsburgh? How dare you?
Who wants to play in Pittsburgh? No.
Who wants to play in Denver?
No.
Who wants to play in Denver? It's the same thing. Who wants to play in Cleveland?
I'm pretty sure you can pull a lot of athletes who want to play in Denver for obvious reasons now.
Okay, excluding Jokic, but that's so dumb. What if Steph Curry got
Jokic is not the obvious reason. I'm talking about any athlete in every sport that wants to play in Denver. Exactly. That reason alone.
Hey, Cleveland.
Wait, Cleveland's legal?
No, I'm saying, what about Cleveland? Cleveland is not legal. What is the reason?
Cleveland already has a basketball team.
Yeah, but why would you?
Why? Because of LeBron.
Oh, shut.
Even though LeBron's not there anymore, he still revolutionized the market.
What if Steph got drafted by Pittsburgh then? Then this whole argument is irrelevant.
Well, nobody wanted to play in Cleveland to begin with before LeBron.
Exactly.
So LeBron's the only reason why Cleveland was relevant.
Yeah, nobody wants to play in Pittsburgh until that becomes relevant too. right?
I still say let's not have a team in Pittsburgh.
Why?
Please.
Why wouldn't you want a team in Pittsburgh? Like, where else is it going to go? Kansas City?
That's not in the East.
It can technically be in the East. We can shift borders.
Let's see.
Baltimore?
Kentucky, Kentucky.
Where?
What?
No. Where? Where are you going to? Lexington? Yeah, the Lexington.
Hey, that's a basketball area.
The Lexington Wildcats.
That's where the basketball savants are. You can have one in Maine. I mean, no one has a team in Maine except for the G League team. So you can have a team in Maine.
Make the G League team the main NBA now. Stop.
You can have a team in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's now the city of champions. So
no,
look, the Raptors are playing in Tampa Bay.
We already have 2 teams in Florida. Why would we put another one in there?
Because Florida's like as big as.
No, just get
Florida's like the biggest state in the U.S.
Just go to Pittsburgh. It's a big city.
There's what, like 3 teams in Texas?
Then go to Baltimore.
I'm fine with Baltimore.
Baltimore's terrible.
I'm fine with Baltimore.
Baltimore's terrible. Yeah, just go to Pittsburgh. I feel like that's the best.
I'll rather choose, since basketball is the sport.
Actually, matter of fact, this is what I would rather do. I'd rather have Vegas as the main team and move Western Conference team over. That's what I would rather do. To be honest.
New Orleans,
yeah, probably. That's what I would rather do.
I could see that. I could see that. But if you were to choose Pittsburgh and Baltimore, I'm easily choosing Baltimore because basketball is a sport most liked by black people. So if I'm in a market, I'm choosing Baltimore because it has more black people. I'm not choosing Pittsburgh. What's there to do in Pittsburgh?
Why are you so? What is wrong with you today?
I mean, what is there to do in Pittsburgh? Like,
you say I am so negative. You just shitted on an entire city right there.
This team is going to be overshadowed by the Steelers every single time. They're not going to accept the basketball team.
This is your Patriots fan speaking. Oh, okay.
No, I'm just saying. Who wants to live in Pittsburgh? Okay. It just smells like old oil in there, in the air.
You got 6.
The air is polluted.
You got 6. Sit down somewhere. Leave it alone.
It's like a giant boiler room in that city.
Why are you starting fires with your rivalries in sports? Why are you doing this? You have 6 rings. Sit down.
I'm just being real.
Pittsburgh's a great city.
As a Patriots fan, I want to like Ravens either, but I say they should live in Baltimore.
Also, it's bringing up the black population. The head coach of Pittsburgh is black. Mike Tomlin is a black man fighting for equal rights. And I'm pretty sure Pittsburgh has probably a very high black population. I disregard all of the comments made by this man.
Pittsburgh having a black population. That's funny. Wow. That's hilarious.
Wow. This is just all terrible.
Have you met a black person from Pittsburgh? Tell me. I never met a black person from Pittsburgh.
I have met. I don't know how many. I've definitely met one.
Were they just stopping by Pittsburgh? Were they just passing through so they can go to Philadelphia or something?
This is very dangerous.
or were they just living? Like, they can't be living there. They had to be passing through to go somewhere else. It was just a random train stop.
I'm not gonna respond.
It was just that transition, like you know how you have that pit stop in the airplane. It's just probably like, we're gonna stop at Pittsburgh for 2 hours, and then you're gonna go to your real destination. That's where they were there for.
I'm gonna sit over here. I'm gonna let you handle all that by yourself. I'm not touching this. I'm not touching this.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. You're saying a lot. You're saying a lot right now.
But I do agree. We could have a team in Vegas. And then we can move the New Orleans Pelicans, because when New Orleans Pelicans first started, when they moved from Charlotte to New Orleans, when they were New Orleans Hornets, they were an Eastern Conference team.
Yeah.
They were still an Eastern Conference team until like a couple years later. Then they moved to the Western Conference. So we can, when the Charlotte Bobcats became a team.
Yeah, I say shift them over. What's the problem? Just shift them over. Speaking of shift over, I got a very good one here. Speaking of shift over, let's talk about a couple players switching over positions in these all NBA teams. It's pretty good. Come on. It's pretty. Oh, boo. You've had way worse. That is a solid B-.
I mean, I'm doing this more often than you are, so okay. Of course there's going to be room for me to fail.
That's a solid B-. You got to give me 80% on
that. I say a C.
How
a C. A C. I give it a C.
All right. You know what? I I don't know how to feel about this. How do you feel about these position changes, like Embiid being considered a power forward center, Nikola Jokic being considered a power forward center, Devin Booker being considered a shooting guard, small forward. Hilarious, by the way. Doesn't play that
Well,
position. But then,
technically,
but then
wing.
obviously, you have the Tatum, the Browns, and all those other guys. So, how do you feel about it?
This is how they should just do it: guard, wing, big. Problem solved. For this lineup, it should have two bigs because the two bigs happen to be the two best players. Devin Booker, instead of shooting guard, small forward, wing, because he's a wing. He's a wing that plays guard on occasion, but at the end of the day, he's still a wing. Tatum, wing forward. He plays the wing, but he also plays a forward spot. But when he plays a forward spot, he's just technically just an auxiliary wing in the Celtics offense.
Yeah.
Just do it that way. It's problem solved. For me, I'm all about having the 5 best players in the lineup because it's not like you're actually going to play with these teams in real life. The only time you'll play with these all NBA teams is probably NBA 2K. And I don't think they even have that feature in there. So, so just have the 5 best players because at the end of the day, it's not just for our fan service. It's also for the players' contracts because some players have it in their clause. I'm pretty sure like every NBA player, at least every star player probably has something like this in their clause. If they make the all NBA first team, they get this specific bonus. If they make the second team, they get a less bonus. So if I'm Embiid, I would feel some type of way if I make it if I'm in the second team just because I play the same position as Jokic when both of them were the 2 best players because I want all my money. So look, if they have to do that to have Embiid and Jokic in the same team, then so be it.
Yeah, I think that in Tatum's clause, Bill Simmons was saying in his clause, if he makes an All NBA team, like he has he'll get $30 million, but if he doesn't, I think it's like 26 or something like that.
No wonder he's averaging 25 a game. My goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we can talk about whether he makes an All NBA team or not. Yeah, I gotta tell you, I like it because on one hand, I actually do feel like this is the correct way because if we are talking about listing off the 15 best players in the league at each time, technically we should be doing the best players, period, right? So obviously Embiid and obviously Jokic should be on the NBA first team from that standpoint. However, in previous years, various people have been snubbed. And it's been like this for years.
You know why I'm patting myself on the back right now?
Why are you patting yourself on the back?
Because I made you a believer. We were talking about this before the show, how you did not like this format. And now I convince you. I convince you.
You very rudely interrupted me before I became a very...
I'm just saying.
I'm becoming a very big cynic here. I think that so many players have been snubbed throughout NBA history because this is the way that it's been done. It's been point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, because that's the way the game was played. And you had to choose a center. Who was the best one? Was it Wilt or Russell? Was it Shaq or Ewing? Or was it Hakeem? No, it was always Hakeem. But, in all these other different positions, like McGrady trying to make small forward during probably one of the most competitive eras. Like, think about how many players were trying to make all NBA teams, like Iverson, Dwayne Wade, Kobe, Steve Nash, all of these guys,
Darren Williams, Chris Paul,
Jason Kidd, like all of these guys trying to make these NBA teams, and now they're starting to float because now Kobe Bryant would be considered a guard forward, even though he's clearly a shooting guard, but that's what he would be considered in positionless basketball, right? So that's where I kind of don't agree. I agree with the wings a little bit because you can convince me that Tatum plays shooting guard and he plays small forward. You can convince me that Luka plays point guard and forward. LeBron the same way. Jimmy the same way. You can't convince...
He plays all 4 positions. However, Jimmy Butler.
However, when it comes to certain guys, you cannot convince me. You cannot convince me that Joel Embiid is a power forward. You can't convince me. I'm sorry.
But if Jokic and Embiid are in the same team, then they're both going to be in the starting lineup.
But Embiid doesn't play power forward, is what I'm saying. Like, he's listed as a power forward, but
I'll put Jokic at the 4, but I mean, either way, it's all relative to me.
But even that, it's like Jokic playing the 4. It's like, okay, but he's a center. You're never gonna see.
At the end of the day,
you're never gonna see Nikola Jokic play power forward. Is what I'm saying. Like, if they were on the same,
but
team,
you're never going to see.
But if they're on
you're
the
never
same
going to see
team,
these teams together.
What I'm saying is, you're right. On one hand, it's like, yeah, I'll never see it, but on the same time, he's not a power forward, and he will never play that. He'll never play that in his career. He will always play center. You know, same thing with Chris Paul. Like, Chris Paul will always play point guard. That's all he is. That's all he is. Steph will always play point guard, but he's probably going to be listed as point shooting guard or combo. Like, but he'll always play point guard. Some of these guys just only play one position, and that's where I start to take offense with it. With going down the list, I'm just like, I don't like.
I kind of don't want to cut you off there.
Okay,
but Nuggets
Booker
used to win.
Prime one though. Booker's the one that I'm the most aggressive at. When has Booker ever played the 3? He's never played the 3. He is a shooting guard. He should not be listed as a 2 or 3. That's my last thing. Sorry.
He played the point guard, but yeah, he never played the 3.
Okay, guard, but he's a guard. He's not anything else. He's a guard, period.
But here's one thing that I'm going to kind of correct you on. Jokic kind of did play the 4 at one point.
When?
Remember when they had Mason Plumlee on the team? They used to run lineups with Mason Plumlee and Nikola Jokic. Jokic was playing the 4.
No, he wasn't. He was playing the 5. Come on.
So Plumlee was playing. Either way, there's still 2 centers playing together. Like, it still happened. It still happened.
Jokic is a center, dude.
It's like saying
that's like everybody in the 90s was playing that way. What are you talking about? Everybody had two big guys playing all the time.
But that was like what, 4 or 5 years ago. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, I know. So what are you saying?
I'm saying that like
Jokic was a center. That doesn't make that argument makes no sense. He was a center during that time. He wasn't playing.
They were playing 2 big men. They were playing 2 centers together in the same lineup. He
always played 2 big men. I don't know what you're saying. But he was playing center.
Mason. So then, what was Mason Plumlee?
He's probably the 4.
He's still like their positions. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Positions to me don't matter as much. Like, they were still doing, like, just because Mason Plumlee was playing the 4, he was still doing the same duties he would be playing if he was the 5. San Antonio Spurs, Fabrizio Berto or Tim Duncan, who's the 4 and the 5? It doesn't matter. They have specific roles.
I hate that argument. Duncan was a 4. He was always a 4. He was never anything else. He was always a 4. He played center in the back half of his career, and now he's considered a center. He was a 4 when he was playing because that's what the position was. If you had footwork in a mid-range game and you could shoot outside of 15 feet, you were a 4. He was a 4.
So I
don't want to hear anything else about it. He was the greatest power forward of all time. It wasn't KG. Tim Duncan was a 4. There's a reason why he's the greatest power forward of all time. People say not the greatest, nothing else. He was the greatest power forward.
But you know what? For me, I am done with the positions. I don't even say point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center anymore. Guard, wing, big. Guard, wing, big. That's all I have. So Nuggets, when they play Plumlee and Jokic, 2 bigs.
You're such a millennial. Trying to simplify everything.
I'm adapting to the times. Guard, wing, big. When Celtics play a lineup with Walker, Smart, Brown, Tatum, and whoever's at center, Robert Williams, guard, wing, big.
All I'm saying is that when hand checking comes back, positions are going to come back. That's all I'm saying. I'm sticking on the train. That's all I'm saying.
But for right now, like, it's not. I don't think it's coming back. And 2,
it has to.
And 2, for right now, it's guard, wing, big.
All right. You want to talk about some all NBA stuff?
Let's talk. I mean, we were already on it. So
we're already on it. So should we just? So since we're already here, if I had to vote, I don't think I would vote with Jokic and Embiid. I would separate them first and second team. I would obviously vote Jokic first and Embiid second. So how do you feel? Like, if I had to vote, if I had the power to determine whether Jason Tatum makes $26 or $30 million, if I had that power,
Now, if you put like, let's say if you put Embiid second team, Embiid's gonna come see you. That's all I gotta
Probably.
say. He's gonna come see you.
He missed some games. That's all I'm saying. He missed some games. The one thing that I want to talk about the most, and the one thing that I struggled with the most, was the first team guards. And obviously, we've had some pretty amazing guards play this year. I don't know if you saw them, but they were pretty good.
I saw some stat padding ones and some very good ones.
Yeah.
Some very good stat padding ones, by the way.
And I think the best one was Russell Westbrook, and I voted for him for first team.
That's a very good stat padding one. Yeah.
I mean, his stats are incredible. Have you seen his stats? His stats are great.
It's. I really can't believe it. I can't believe how it's possible. It's like he's playing 2K in real life, like with the stats. Like he's a real life my player. He's getting all the boards. He's waving off all the big men so he can get all the boards. He has the ball all the time. If he gives the ball up to someone else, it's usually just Bradley Beal, and that's pretty much it. If he passes, it's usually the last second so he can get an assist. It's amazing.
22, 11, and 11. He's just the greatest player I've ever seen. Period. He's just the best. I've never seen anybody. It's pretty okay. In all seriousness, 22, 11, and 11 is pretty fucking unreal. It's a pretty ridiculous number to look at, and I honestly don't know how he makes me so frustrated. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how.
I want to ask you though. Okay. If there was hand checking in today's NBA, would it be getting these ridiculous stats?
I think Westbrook would have been.
He is pretty athletically gifted, though, so he could probably get through it.
Okay, I will split that into two things. I would say one, would he be able to? No, is the simplest answer, because I think in hand checking, people would get pissed off, and then hard fouls would start to come into play, and I don't think Russell is going to be trying to stat pad with elbows flying his way. But two,
he'll probably throw elbows back.
I also think that if hand checking was a thing this whole time, I don't think Russell Westbrook would be playing this way at all. I think Russell Westbrook would have changed his game a long time ago to make him a far more aggressive scorer. If this was hand checking, in my opinion. I think he would have been a very talented pick and roll guy. Kind of like he is now, but way better. I think he would have been a way better.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. Like, how much more aggressive can he be? Like, that's been the main point of his game, his aggression.
He's only taking 17 shots a game. Like, he's letting other people. I think he would have been like a minimum 26 shots a game guy if there was hand checking. To be honest with you, I think he would have.
So it'll be okay. So it'll be OKC Westbrook again.
Yeah, kind of like Iverson. I think that would have been Westbrook if there was hand checking. I think he would have been Iverson.
Fair enough.
But in all seriousness, so the three guys that I've been struggling with. Technically four. I'm going to say four. So, obviously you have Steph, who in my opinion is a shoo-in for first team. He's a shoo-in.
Number one.
He's number one. In my MVP rankings, he's second. In my best players in the league rankings, he's second. And to be honest, he's very, very, very inching close to first, depending on what LeBron is going to do when he comes back to the playoffs. Steph is currently second, though, and I'm respecting the king, and LeBron's right here. But Steph has been unbelievable this year. He's I think he might be the third or second greatest point guard of all time. I need to kind of go back in the lair, watch some film, see how I feel about it. But Steph has been unbelievable. He's been, I think this is probably his second best season he's ever had. How do you feel? I think this is his second best season.
Definitely his second best, because his season, it was the 73 win season. That season, nothing's been better than that. I think it was a 73 win season where he had like even more unreal stats.
I think it was I thought it was the unanimous year. Was the unanimous year the 402 threes? The 400.
He had two unanimous years. So
no,
it was a 73 wins.
No, he had one.
He had one. Oh yeah, because I think the other one, like someone else voted for.
Yeah, I think it was 20. Was it 2014? Or was it 15-16? I think it was 15-16.
Good thing I'm on Basketball Reference, so let me see.
Yeah, I think Steph Curry was 15-16 or 14-16. It was one of the two.
No, it was definitely the 73 win season. That's when he had even more unreal stats. We had averaged 30 a game, 50% shooting, 45% from three, 91% from the free throw line. That was the 73 win season at age 27.
That was a 15-16 season?
Yeah, wasn't that the 73 win season?
No.
Man, it seems so long ago. It seemed
Was
so
that
long ago. I don't even remember.
No, was that?
I feel like that was that season. I feel like that was that season where they had 73 wins. It feels so
I
long
don't
ago.
think so.
Let's
I think
let's
it was
see.
the year before.
No, it was the you see, yeah, I'm on basketball reference. 73 and 9, 2015, 2016 season.
Oh,
That was it. And like
you were right.
that made sense
You were
because they didn't have Kevin Durant that year.
Yeah. So
They didn't have Kevin Durant that year, so he had to have an amazing season for them to have so many wins.
for people who aren't keeping up with us, and obviously none of you are, 32 points, 5.5 rebounds, 5.7 assists, 48% from the field, 42% from three, 43 technically percent from three, 91% from the free throw line. It is a unanimous MVP year. Kind of some really dumb stats, but this year he's just as good. Which is kind of I don't even know what to say. Like, it's kind of bananas, right? It's kind of bananas that he's just
And it's like what, 32 years old?
He is let's see. He is 33. He's 33 years old
33.
and he's averaging, or is he averaging literally the same stats? He's averaging literally the same stats.
Yes, just slightly less efficient.
Yeah. Actually,
You can even argue because he has less talent around him.
Yeah. And by the way, those stats that I just read you were this year. His MVP year stats was 36, technically 37 and 5, and his shooting splits are absolutely bonkers. 50% field goal, 45% from three, 45% from three, 90% from the free throw line. Absolutely dumb. Absolutely dumb. That hurts my soul. But yeah, Steph Curry, absolute shoo-in. Chris Paul gets a lot of first team consideration. But then there's Harden that you have to consider. And then there's
Curry and Harden for me.
But then there's Dame you got to consider.
It's Curry and Harden for me. I'm sorry. Harden. I guess Harden could be tricky because he's been missing games. Yeah. He's been missing games.
And the Houston thing. So Harden for me,
he was playing so good in Brooklyn that I was going to excuse the Houston thing, but like, yeah, he's been missing a ton of games.
Honestly, he's a debatable All NBA guy because he's missed so many games. And the Houston thing, he was really good for that stretch, but I don't know if I can put him in an All NBA team. But like you said, he was so unbelievable for that stretch that I'm kind of just like, eh. But then I also kind of think Kyrie has also been really good, but I'm not going to put him in first team. So where I landed was I gave it to Chris Paul.
Okay.
Obviously, there's a couple games left. Dame can steal it if he has like a bonkers like end of the season. But Chris Paul going to a team that didn't make the playoffs last year, made a really good 8-game push to try and make the playoffs, but didn't make the playoffs. Didn't make the play-in game, right? They didn't make the play-in game.
No, they didn't make the play-in game at all.
Yeah, didn't make.
Even though they were undefeated.
They were one of the worst teams in the league. Chris Paul comes in basically, and that's all they had basically to their starting lineup. They're just like, all right, let's put in Chris Paul, and this team is now the best team in the NBA. So that to me is kind of just like, okay, debatably the best team in the NBA.
You gotta give the Jazz some love now. I mean, I think Suns are better than the Jazz, but I mean, Jazz got better record. Also, we gotta stop shitting on the Jazz. We gotta stop shitting on the Jazz.
I don't want to shit on the Jazz. I don't want to shit on the Nets or the Lakers or the Sixers. Very good teams, but you could very easily make the argument that the Suns are the best team in the league. You can make it a very good argument.
I think so too.
So I think the addition of Chris Paul, he might not have the stats. He definitely doesn't have the stats. If you're just looking at stats, you're not going to see it. But that fact, if you watch him play, he is clearly the conductor. He is clearly the guy that's making all the decisions, and he's clearly the guy that might turn this all around. So I voted for him for first team.
To be an All NBA coach and an All NBA player. amazing feat. But like, you know what? If I was to do my MLNBA list, I'll have the same thing: Curry and Paul.
Curry and Paul. So
yeah, Curry and Paul.
So you're not so you backed off the Harden. You backed off the Harden the train.
Nah, you kind of like I kind of thought about it. Kind of thought about it and was just like, yeah, you missed too many games. But if he didn't miss too many games, I would have Curry and Harden.
Yeah. So I want to pay my respect to Dame because, like I said, Dame could very easily sway me in these next couple games. He's been just a notch below Curry. He's just been a notch below Curry.
We were talking about the All NBA thing about how positions and everything. Dame has been the biggest, he's been the biggest downfall of the position.
Yeah.
Of all the position stuff because he doesn't make as many All-Star games as he should. I don't know if he ever made an All-NBA first team. I'm pretty sure he probably has, but he definitely hasn't made as enough as he should.
He's never made
just because he plays in the West and he's a point guard.
Yeah, no, he's never made a first team. I think this will be his second.
Yeah, that's what I meant. He never made a first team.
Yeah, he never made a first team. This will be his second team, I think, or his third one of the two. Or if they devote, I actually probably think that the guards are more than likely going to be. Actually, they're probably going to be the same. They're probably going to be Steph and Luka. That would be my guess of what it's probably going to be. But yeah, speaking of Luka, I have Luka in the first team as well, along with Giannis. Those are my forwards. I think LeBron missed too many games. Kawhi is the one where
willingly missed too many games.
Yeah, Kawhi is the one where I think people would be upset because Kawhi easily deserves to be in the first team. I just think that Chris Paul has been more important to his team. I think that Luka is more impactful of a player than Kawhi, and Steph and Giannis, you just can't take them off. So they're first team, and Jokic is first team. Like those guys aren't going anywhere. So, yeah. How do you feel about Kawhi? Would you put Kawhi at first team? Because
no,
that's the one I struggle.
Wow. No, I mean I love Kawhi, but I mean if you're a guy that likes taking load management, there has to be some punishment to that, where you're probably not going to be considered All NBA first team as much because you're not playing as many games.
Did he have load management? I don't think he had a lot of load management this season.
He's only played 50 games.
It's a lot of games. Steph's only played 60.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying.
I don't know.
It's not that many for this year. Especially, they got bounced early. So, I mean, yeah, injuries haven't been that big of a concern. But yeah, I think Kawhi's the best player on the Clippers, and everybody seems to think that the Clippers are this big sleeper. So yeah.
Are we saying Luka is a wing? Is a forward? Because
I'm putting.
Granted, I think in the Mavericks he's always been a point guard. At least this season, he's always been a point guard, if not the shooting guard. I don't think he's ever been this forward in the offense because he's always has the ball in his hands, so he's always the one operating.
I think he plays the forward. Look, everybody says it. He's literally he's Larry Bird. That is who he is. If this was a couple years ago, he'd be considered a forward. He's a forward, but he's also a point guard. But he's also a forward, and I'm considering him a forward. Yeah, you're the one who's up for this positionless basketball. I don't want to hear it. You're the one.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying. Yeah, no, this is kind of.
He could play forward if I'm building a team, according to you.
No, I'm saying for me, but I'm saying for you. He's really a guard.
I mean,
in your definition, he's really a guard.
In your definition, he can play forward. So I'm putting him in as forward.
Yeah,
boom, right there.
Okay.
Boom. All right. So second team.
Is that existentialism for NBA? Is this what it is?
I guess it is. I guess that's funny. Second team. Shoe-ins. Kawhi, LeBron, Dame, Embiid. Those are my shoe-ins. I think I think that basically those nine guys are all going to be in everybody's All NBA teams, and I think that's basically the nine that you're going to see for first team. Those guys.
I don't want to disrespect the king. I don't want to disrespect the king.
Oh, is this happening?
But should you put LeBron over a guy who's played more games than Paul George?
Paul George? I'm not putting Paul George on my All NBA teams. Period. How about that?
I'm just saying.
How
I'm
about
just
that? How
saying.
about
He
I'm not
didn't
putting
play
him?
enough
How about I'm
games.
not? How about I'm not putting him? First of all, Kevin Durant. You'd put him in over Kevin Durant? You think that Paul George
I
has been
mean,
more?
Kevin Durant. How many games
Seen
does
this?
Kevin Durant
By the
even
way, have
play?
you seen this landslide of the Lakers after LeBron has left? Does that not matter?
Oh no, that definitely matters.
Was not LeBron not the leading MVP candidate before he went down?
Mostly by sympathy, but yeah,
I don't think LeBron has missed that many games in
Be-
order for him.
because he should have won it years before it. But yeah, okay, I'll put LeBron
Yeah,
over.
he
But
hasn't put.
with Kevin Durant should not be on any All NBA teams.
He's not on
He's
mine.
barely played enough
He's
games.
not on mine. Second guard is the one where I struggled with. Second guard is where I struggled because I looked at it. I think Harden's missed too many games. I don't think I could put him on an All-NBA team, so he's out.
I'll put Harden.
You can put Harden. That's fine. I think he's missed too many games. That's just me. And so I'm looking at the rest of them. Looking at guys like Mitchell, Booker,
What about his teammate Kyrie?
Beal. That's where I landed. I landed with Kyrie.
No Kyrie.
No, I landed with
Okay,
Kyrie.
okay.
I landed with Kyrie. I think it would be very disrespectful to not have a Brooklyn net on an All NBA team.
Very.
I think Kyrie has been excellent. I think he's been excellent. I think he has been the second best show in basketball, which is saying a lot. I think he's the second best show in basketball, and I think he's been very effective. And I think he's helped a team that we thought would struggle, and they finished way higher than a lot of people thought, especially with the injuries and how we thought they would implode and all this stuff. I think he's been very good, so I voted for him for second team. So, so I have Dame, Kyrie, LeBron, Kawhi, and Embiid. So, sounds like no arguments here.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, I think with All NBA, usually the top 15 players are usually kind of the same, just swapped, like in different positions. So,
except for
I don't think you're really
I don't
going
think anybody's third team is the same. I think this is where you get it.
Okay.
I think this is where you get mad. Okay. So, as I said, Paul George did not make my All NBA third team.
That's where I get mad. It's
not my fault. It's not my fault that you're a stat chaser and don't watch the games. It's not my fault.
Is this shade? I watch games and I see how efficient Paul George is. You just still have to think of him being pandemic P in the bubble, and you still think this is the same Paul George. No, this Paul George got cornrows. He got his trainer back from where he got the MVP. This is a different Paul George.
I think Paul George has been very solid this season. He is playoff P. Let's get that clear. By the way, Paul George, 23 points a game, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 87% from the line. It looks like he shot 41% from 3 and 51% from the field. He was really good. Or 48.
Efficient. That's how is that not in the All NBA team?
47% from the field. Sorry, 47%. Still really good. I don't know. It just seems like he gets the quietest 23 points a game I've ever seen.
So because his 23 points is not loud, it's not screaming like Westbrook.
It's just like he's not there. I don't know. It's like he's not there. When you watch him, you can tell. Like, I we're not going deep. Like, do you have any faith in the Clippers making any noise in the playoffs?
I feel like the Clippers are going to surprise some people. Yeah, I feel like the Clippers are going to surprise some people because I think people are really just subconsciously thinking that just because the Clippers laid an egg so bad last year that people forget that everybody think about the Brooklyn Nets now. They thought about the Clippers last season. Everybody thought the Clippers had this super team last season, that the Clippers were going to win a championship last season. It all withered away after that playoff performance. So I just think everybody just has that subconsciously that this team is going to disappoint again. And that's why I think they're going to surprise.
That's fair. All right. How about I list you off my guys, and then we see how you feel afterwards.
Okay.
So let's start with the obvious. Gobert, because you need a center, you need a big. Gobert is the obvious slide in. So there it is. here's where we go off the rails. Okay. And here's something that I never thought I'd do. I got Bradley Beal as one of my guards. Something I never thought I'd do. Bradley Beal.
Finally coming around.
Second in the league in scoring. He's been absolutely ridiculous. And if they make the play-in game, by the way, I did say that they were going to make the playoffs. I just wanted that was on record. That is on record.
He's going to be out for the rest of the regular season, by the way.
I understand, but I just want to say on record that I did say that this team was going to make the playoffs, and they are. And it's off the back of Bradley Beal, but mostly Russell Westbrook, and I probably should have put him in here. But still, Bradley Beal.
I'll still say mostly Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal. So I have Bradley Beal in as my guard. So I'm assuming no argument there. It sounds like you're on board.
I've been a fan of Bradley Beal.
Okay. The guard one was tough. Because you got guys like Tatum that I could put in there. You got guys like Brown that I can put in there. Guys like Donovan Spider Mitchell deserves a shout. I landed with Devin Booker. Another guy I never thought I'd pencil in here.
Couldn't go wrong. I would put, I guess, Donovan Mitchell, but I guess he's been out for a couple of games, but you can't go wrong. But I would put Donovan.
You know what it came down to? It came down to I sat down and I really watched a Suns game. And then I noticed Devin Booker can really get whatever shot he wants. Like, he really can. Like, whenever he wants to get a shot, he can get a shot pretty much wherever he wants. And I think that matters. I think it matters when you can get to a point where you can literally get whatever bucket you want. And honestly, with guys like Tatum, guys like Brown, guys like all those guys who are really good, and especially Tatum and Brown are just ISO guys, Booker has just been so vital to a team that is the number one seed. So I had to give him
I think Mitchell can get whatever shot he wants. And Tatum can get whatever shot he wants.
I don't think it's a better bucket than Booker, to be honest with you. Either of those guys.
I just feel like Booker's in a better situation in the offense where his shots are just going to be generally better percentage shots.
I don't think anybody would have said that about Boston earlier in the season. I think people would have said Boston.
Yeah, but the way Boston plays now, but Tatum's always ISOing.
Yeah, but isn't that Brown and Tatum's fault because they're ISO guys?
Is it they're ISO guys or they're just game plan to be ISO guys?
I don't know. They're probably game.
I see Tatum come off screens as well, and like Booker. And hit threes. I've seen Tatum do that. I mean, mostly it's ISO, but Tatum is capable of doing that.
I don't know what game you're watching. So it sounds like a little bit of a little pushback on Booker. A little pushback.
No, I like Booker, but you're just saying that like you get whatever shot he wants. Like these two guys you mentioned, Donovan Mitchell and Tatum,
they're terrific.
Can't get any shots they want.
They're absolutely terrific, and they can get whatever shots they want. I just like Devin Booker's shot a little bit more.
And then Donovan Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell is the way his team, like he's the designated scorer when he's on the floor. So
his team is performing very well when he's gone.
They're performing very well, but it's mostly because of that defense. So if Donovan Mitchell is the designated scorer, aside from Jordan Clarkson and sometimes Mike Conley, he's the only other guy that could create his own shot.
By the way, crazy, we're arguing on opposite sides. I feel like we're having I'm having a deja vu moment. I feel like we were having this argument, but I was on the opposite side, and so were you. I feel like
I was arguing for Devin Booker. You were arguing for Donovan Mitchell.
Remember when we were doing the under 25, and you were completely disrespecting Mitchell, and we got into this Booker Mitchell argument. Yeah, I think I definitely.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we flipped sides.
So I came along to Mitchell.
Yeah,
I still came along to Booker. I'm gonna Booker up a couple of spots too, but I mean.
Yeah, look.
I was just saying.
Okay, if I'm being honest, let me stop being controversial. Here's the honest reason. The honest reason, all of them are good. I don't like the way Boston plays. I think Boston is basically a collapse waiting to happen based off the way he plays.
I could agree with you on that.
I think that there's a little bit of stat padding with Boston because it just seems like when Tatum is just having a bad game, he's just going to start chucking, and I'm just like,
the team is definitely in a business for themselves. The players are you could clearly see it.
Yeah. I could do the whole Westbrook thing, but I'm not going to be that guy. And then Mitchell, his team is just doing well without him, and I know that shouldn't matter, and it probably doesn't, but it does. That's all I can say. It does.
I did always say that Gobert is more important to the team than Mitchell. And I even said this in the past show because I said if Gobert goes down,
Yeah.
like Utah can't be the same because you can't just replace a 7'2" big man with a 7'7" wingspan. But if Mitchell goes down, you can get the scoring from Jordan Clarkson, you can get the scoring from Conley, you get other players to pitch in like Bogdanovich and Ingles.
Yep.
So like the Mitchell is more easy to replace. So I feel like that Jazz record won't be too affected if Mitchell goes down. While it would affect them in the playoffs, I just feel like in the regular season they'll be straight.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think if I forgot anybody. Did I forget any other guards? And Paul George, I'm just not voting for Paul George. Trae Young is another guy, but obviously,
Trae Young, you didn't forget. No, I'm just joking.
I was about to say. But Trae Young does deserve a shot. I mean, look, Atlanta's playing really well. He is 25-9. I'm almost positive somebody's going to vote.
Are we switching sides again with this one?
No, he absolutely does not deserve an All NBA spot. But I'm saying
but you said he should get the shout because the Hawks are playing well. I don't know if you noticed, but the Hawks are playing well without Trae Young. When Trae Young was out, they were winning games without Trae Young. To the point where fans were actually saying, like, is he really hurting the team because they're playing better without him?
I did see that. I did see that. Yeah, dude. I think that the Hawks are. Honestly, you want to know who it is? The secret sauce. It's been this Bogdanovich piece. He's been cooking without Trae.
Bucks are sick right now. Yeah. Yo, he's been great. He's been awesome. Bucks are sick.
Now here's the thing.
Bucks are sick.
Imagine when Hunter comes back. And they keep Collins.
When Hunter comes back.
Yeah, when Hunter comes back, they keep Collins, and if Capella keeps playing like he does, and if Trae Young can just figure it out, if he can just be like, hey, you know what? Let me go ahead and not cook. And play in this Steph Curry type of role where he's just.
Let me go ahead and not take 50-foot 3-point shots.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Imagine the day where he stops taking those jumpers and all he does is just run 24/7. Yeah, dude, I can't wait. It'll never happen.
If he just plays more like Steve Nash, exactly like Steve Nash, he'll be even better. Like I don't mind Trae Young just averaging like 19 points a game, like 19, 21 points a game. Just up the assists because he has the passing ability. He has the vision.
Honestly,
if he just plays like Steve Nash, he'll be great.
Honestly, don't even mind the 25 points a game. It's just if you play differently. It's the 25 and 9 assist thing where he just holds the ball 24/7.
But that's what I'm saying. If I don't mind him holding the ball, but like his shots are just not that good. His shot selection is bad.
I still need him to score 25 a game, though. I still need him to score 25 a game.
I say since he's been out, it's been proven they don't need him to score 25 a game. They can get scoring in other outlets. What they need him to do is to be that facilitator that he is. Because vision-wise, there's very few guards in the NBA that has the vision Trae Young has. He just needs to use it more. Sure. He has the dribbling skills and the passing skills of Steve Nash. He just needs to use it more.
Still want that shooting.
I'm saying, like, look, Steve Nash was one of the best shooters of all time. He just did not shoot as much.
And
I'm just saying, like, he can still.
He regrets that.
Yeah, but I'm not saying he doesn't shoot as little as Steve Nash has, but he can shoot less than what he's doing right now.
Steve said he should have took 8 threes a game. Even Steve said
probably, but
not probably.
I just say the shot selection of Trae Young should be better.
Yeah, I think we could both agree on that. So yeah, Booker, Beal. First team or third team, sorry. I had Butler in here. And I know he's missed some time. I know he's missed some games. But I had Butler in here because I don't know, have you seen the Heat since he's came back? You seen the Heat?
They've been better.
They've been a lot better. And Butler's been awesome. I think since coming back, he's basically just been like 23, 5-5 or something like that. But he's been incredible since they came back. And the Heat are genuinely rallying. Like they are.
He's really the engine that makes it going.
Dude, they're not in the play-in game. Imagine, we thought that. I personally thought that the Heat were in a tailspin. Ever since he's came back, they've been awesome. So I had to vote him over Tatum and Brown and all of those other. I had to put him in there because the fact that he made it this, like, they're the 6th seed, dude. That's insane. Is that not crazy to you? Bam hasn't been as good. Tyler Hero's taking a dip. Duncan's taking a dip, and then all of a sudden they're the 6th seed still. Like, how does that happen?
And what I like to see about Butler is the transformation in his game. He's legit playing point guard in that offense. He's averaging 7 assists. Like, if you remember Jimmy Butler from the Chicago days, at least the early Chicago days, I would never would have think of him like this guy's going to be a true facilitator.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been really crazy and really awesome to see. But yeah, Butler to me, he's another guy that I feel bad because I feel like if he played a few years ago, he probably would have some second, maybe even some first team All NBAs in there. But he definitely deserves a spot in third team All NBA in my opinion. But my next spot, I'm not gonna lie to you, Zion got some consideration here. Zion got some really
You see how good he's been playing?
Zion got some obviously the injury doesn't help. But still, got some real quality Zion tape. Obviously, I looked at Tatum, been talking about Tatum since second team. Obviously, got Brown, Sabonis, some other guys.
Hey, you can put Zion at point guard. He's been playing point guard for the Pelicans.
That's
you
true.
can put him at point guard
That's
too
true.
now.
That's true. But I landed at Randall. And to be honest,
okay, I'm not mad at that. He needs the love.
To be honest with you, really strongly debating putting Randall over LeBron in second team All NBA. Debating about.
I won't be mad at that too. Yeah. I did say I was questioning the king.
Yeah, I'm debating.
I was questioning the king.
I was debating about it, but I am not as disrespectful as he is. So I put him in third team. Randall deserves a massive shout out. I guess leading after this, we can. Those were my All NBA teams, so we can obviously drive this into Knicks talk a little bit since we've been dissing.
Some wise man did say the best ability is availability. Mm-hmm. Julius Randle's played 67 games.
Yeah.
But we're going to put a guy who's played 40-something games over Randle?
Yeah.
I'm just being real.
Yeah, you're right. And read
I'm
those
just
stats,
being real.
Read those stats. Those stats are incredible.
It was like, what, 23.9 points a game, 10.3 rebounds, 5.9 assists.
Ridiculous stats.
He's been doing everything. When people said that Julius Randle was better than Amari Stoudemire, I looked at them and laughed. Now, when people say Julius Randle is better than Amari Stoudemire, I looked at them and I think about it. Like, he's been playing that good. Yeah. He's been playing that good.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Also deserves some recognition. The Knicks are the number one defensive team in the NBA. The
Thibodeau effect.
Yeah. Jinx. Thibodeau has been absolutely on fire. He's gotten these guys to believe. RJ Barrett has been awesome over the past 3 months.
He went from not even being even remotely close to my top 25 and under to being a guy who's probably in the list.
I told you he was going to be good, and you were not feeling that. I told you he was going to be good. I told you he's got the work ethic.
I thank Thibodeau for that. Yeah. That's what I think. If he didn't get Thibodeau, he would not have be this good.
He would be
probably in his career.
He would be this good. I won't.
He would not be shooting this good from three. If you saw RJ Barrett in college, he would not be shooting this good from three.
What is this? His second year in the league? He's only in his second year in the league. Give him a second. Give him 3 or 4 years. Give him 3.
He's shooting like Ray Allen from three right now. Like this has to be Thibodeau.
Yeah, no, he's been absolutely incredible. But these Knicks guys have been really awesome. But obviously, the driving force and the engine of that team has been Randall. Kind of crazy how his career has gone ever since, the Lakers, getting drafted by the Lakers, going to New Orleans, trying to find himself as a basketball player.
You think the Lakers regret that?
I mean,
the Lakers literally let him go for free.
When it happened, I didn't like it. Granted, I didn't like the Lonzo trade. I would have rather, I've said this before, I would have rather gave up Kuzma rather than Lonzo. I felt the same way about Randall. I just think that certain guys just need to be in the right situation. Randall was picked as this guy who only used his left hand. And I'm like, well, he's really young. He's not even like in his high 20. To me, once you hit 27, 28, that's who you are as a player, period. Like Trae Young still has time to like change his whole game. I think guys have time to change their whole game until they hit 27, 28. That's when we should really judge these guys as basketball players, because Randall is the classic example of a guy who just didn't figure it out until later. guys like Kyle Lowry do the same thing. Like guys just don't figure it out until a certain time, and then when they do, they just become
Mike Conley.
Mike Conley.
Mike Conley was seen as a bust early in his career.
Yeah, Joe Ingles, another guy. PJ Tucker, another guy. Some of these guys, it just takes a little bit of time for these guys to be
Jeremy Grant.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, obviously you have to regret it as a Lakers fan, but I mean, at the time you kind of just like you get it, you understand. But yeah, that's probably a move. To me, the biggest mistake that they made was the Pelicans. The Pelicans should have figured that out. Pelicans let go of DeMarcus Cousins and Randall.
Zion and Julius Randle is essentially like Zion and less athletic Zion right? On the same team.
Could you imagine? It would be awesome. Yeah, yeah. It's sad. It's sad to see all the people who have given up on Randall. But at the same time, it's like I get it. Watching him play, especially over the past couple of years, it's been tough. Like watching him play, you're just like, God, he's so inefficient.
He had the bad reputation. I think this is like one of the worst reputations you could have as a player. A good player on a bad team. That was what Julius Randle was known for. It was like he was a guy who'll get you, good stats on a bad team. Yeah. But now he's getting good stats on a good team.
It's about time, right? Yeah. So Randall makes it on my third team. I think he absolutely deserves all the recognition in the world. It's just, I think, dude, the Knicks are in fourth place. That's something that should be in like the what do you call it, in fucking Madison Square Garden. That should be everywhere. Like, hey, we're in fourth place, guys.
Now
we made the playoffs. This is crazy.
If only the pandemic wasn't here, we will be, Madison Square Garden would be so loud for Knicks games if it wasn't for the pandemic. I guarantee
you, first playoff game, it doesn't matter. They're just going to be screaming outside. Outside the arena, they're just going to be people in the streets screaming their head off.
So for you, is NBA basketball better when the Knicks are good?
Yeah, it is. It just is. It's the same thing with a lot of these other teams, because it's just like when there's a team, like a good old team to hate, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like when the Cowboys are good in the next few years, football's just going to be better. It's just going to be better. You know what I mean? You just need those mega teams to just bring in the excitement again. It's the same thing like when Arsenal comes back, football will be better.
I don't know about that.
But yeah.
The thing with the Knicks is, like, they're usually a team you can hate, but all the players on the team are likable. Mm-hmm. But I think what makes it better for me is that it's just the fans. Yeah. The fans, like the Knicks fans, are the most entertaining fans ever. Why? Because they always have these ridiculous, unrealistic expectations of the Knicks. And it's always fun to watch them not live up to their expectations. It's always fun hearing these Knicks fans out the woodworks saying like the comments of Randall's better than Amari Stoudemire, or saying more comments. Like Knicks fans are just entertaining. And then just the possibility of having a Nets-Knicks series. Yeah. I hope it happens. Like, I hope they beat the Hawks, honestly. I live in Atlanta, and I hope they beat the Hawks. Just so we could possibly get a Nets-Knicks series.
To be honest, well, I guess we could talk about that real quick. By the way, that series, great series to look forward to. This Knicks-Hawks series is going to be dynamite. I don't know how to feel about it. It's like the most offensive-heavy team versus a defensive powerhouse that has Julius Randle. I mean,
Hawks have been very good defensively since Nate McMillan took office as head coach. Yeah, so
that's what I'm saying. I mean, look, this Hawks team is really good. This Knicks team is really good, and I'm with you. I kind of hope the Knicks beat them just for the Stephen A. Smith first take. To be honest with you,
that too.
That's all I really want. But yeah, it's literally the Dallas thing, right? Like the New York Knicks are just the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. That's all it is.
Let me guess. An episode of First Take will be like before that series even start. You're gonna have T.I. come in talking about him and his constituents and say some random big word on TV versus Stephen A. Yeah. That's probably going to be First Take. Yeah. And then they're going to bring in Big Boy or something. They're probably going to bring in all the Atlanta rappers talking about the Atlanta Hawks finally good again. But I hope the Knicks win. Like, and the thing is, I do like the Hawks. Like, if I wanted to fall to a hometown team, I do like the Hawks. But I want to see the Knicks win. And I usually hate the Knicks, but I want to see the Knicks win. Maybe it's because, I don't know if you've been listening to this podcast, Shattered Knicks. Podcast on The Athletic. It's like a documentary based podcast on the Knicks and James Dolan owning them. and Chuck D from Public Enemy, he's been doing the narration for it. So it's it's been great. Yeah, it's been great. Maybe that is making me warm up to the Knicks.
Yeah.
But I'm just loving this team. Like Emmanuel Quickly, like draft steal. Even he's been overshadowing Obi Toppin. The jerseys just look nice.
Yeah.
This season. The hearing the story that Tom Thibodeau had to lock the gym doors just so he can stop his players from practicing. When Thibodeau tells you you're practicing too much,
it's a great story.
Like something is different.
That's why
something is different.
And yeah, I think
they got Derrick Rose. You can't hate Derrick Rose. You can't hate Derrick Rose.
That's been the biggest one for me. Is Derrick Rose has been good. Like Derrick Rose has been good, and I can't tell you like. Derrick Rose was like legitimately my favorite player in 2011. Like in those couple years, like Derrick Rose was like my favorite player to watch, just because it was like, I love point guards who and granted, D Rose is 6'3", but I just love the little guy just sticking it to the tall guys. You know what I mean?
At the time,
and
it was so.
He was just so.
I was saying at that time.
Go ahead.
I was about to say, like, at that time with Westbrook and Rose, it was still rare to see a guy even 6'3" just be a athletic monster like that.
Yeah, an athletic.
We've seen Steve Francis and Baron Davis, but that's about it.
Yeah, and he was just so acrobatic, and he was so like he could literally get any. People say like Kyrie's the best finisher they've ever seen. I would definitely say Derrick Rose MVP year made some of the most ridiculous. He has the most ridiculous layup package I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm talking like he's throwing the ball over here and then swooping it around and then just kissing it off the glass. I would honestly take Derrick Rose over Kyrie in terms of the finishing department, to be honest with you. But it's just nice to see him back and active and like a part of a team. You know what I mean? He's a part of a winning team, and I can't think of another player that deserves it more than Derrick Rose, because the journey for him has just been absolutely unbelievable. I mean, this man was literally traded to the Utah Jazz, and then there was a guy in a hospital who made a meme about him, who basically said, "We traded for Derrick Rose. He's not good anymore." And then they traded him to like 18 different teams. He gets 50 points in Minnesota, comes all the way back to play for the Knicks for the second time in a row, and now he is a legitimate backup point guard and a legitimate, by the way, six-man candidate of the year. A legit six-man candidate of the year.
I would love to hear a 30 for 30 on Derrick Rose. I would love to hear a 30 for 30 on him. Like, just that he has one of the most unique NBA careers like I've ever seen. Like, he went through being at the top of the land, being youngest MVP ever, looking like he was on pace to be the best point guard of all time, gets the tragic knee injuries, had to go all the way back to the bottom. Actually probably had to go to his lowest point in his basketball career, because this guy was the top recruit since high school. I knew about Derrick Rose for a long time.
Yeah.
So like he had to rebuild himself, had to rebuild his reputation, had to get bounced from team to team. Some people thought he probably won't be an NBA player anymore. Revives his career, becomes a legit scorer again, legit six-man. You can argue he's more skilled now than he was as an MVP. I mean, obviously he was more athletic then, but he's more skilled now. And he's just become like an above average point guard in the NBA. Like, it's been great. It's been great. And also what you didn't mention as well, like Derrick Rose had the best tomahawk dunk I've ever seen out of anybody. Like, someone that's like, he's not small, but at least for NBA standards, it's like small for NBA standards, but just dunks with so much explosion on that tomahawk.
Yeah, he has two of the best dunks I've ever seen. One was the lob over Dragic, which is still one of the best dunks I've ever seen. I still can't believe Dragic dunked for that. It was such a bad decision. The
fact a point guard receives an alley-oop, not given the pass, he receives it. That shows you he's different.
Was that a oop? No. I think that was just a catch, and he just flew over Dragic. Yeah, it was a two-handed flush over Dragic. That's what it was. It was a drive.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something where he caught an alley-oop and he did it like a tomahawk.
Yeah, no, that was also a really good play. But that one, and he had this. I think it was in the conference finals against the Heat. I think he had this drive where he jumped from one side of the paint, two hands, and Chris Bosh or Joel Anthony come over and just basically like volleyball protect the rim. And he literally like, you remember Terrence Ross where he just like kind of just waved over Kenneth Faried to kind of get the jam. Derrick Rose did the same thing.
Yeah.
He just literally
Oh, I remember what you're talking
floated
about.
by
Yeah.
him and just yammed it on him. And it seemed like he was in the air for like 12 years. It was the craziest thing. And I watched it live, and I just remember like just sitting there like with my hands on my cheeks, like, dude. And the thing is, we might not ever see anybody that athletic ever again. Like him, it was him and Westbrook.
I'm saying
Those guys, like, I don't think we'll ever.
he's a unicorn.
Both of them are unicorns, man. But
like him, LeBron, like just players like that, I don't think we'll ever see again. So that's why it hurts even more, the fact that career for Derrick Rose was just so short.
And yeah, it's painful to think about because like you said, like Derrick Rose, like we're never gonna, not even the athleticism, just the acrobatics, man. The acrobatics were just out of control, and we'll never see it. I mean, Kyrie is the closest thing to the acrobatics that we'll get to, but it's just not the same. Like when paired with athleticism,
he doesn't do it with the speed and explosion
like
of Rose.
Exactly, like Rose is literally quadruple clutching layups, like literally like trying to find the best angle because he jumped 50 feet in the air and he's just trying to find out what's the best spot. Like, yeah, we'll never see it again. I don't know why we got into this really long Derrick Rose, but yeah, that's one of the.
I mean, it'd be like that with Derrick Rose. He's just like one of those players. Like what? Like to me, biggest. Okay, not biggest what if players, because there's definitely, I guess, for players who actually played a couple years,
he's top 5.
Biggest what if players.
To me, he's top 5. Period. What if players? He's top 5. He's top 5 because to me, the top 3 is him, Brandon Roy, and Len Bias. Those are the 3 like what if, man. What if?
Greg Oden, it'll be somewhere there too.
Oh yeah, Greg Oden's 4th. But for sure those 3. I mean, actually, Greg Oden never played. We'll put him at 3. We'll put him at 3.
Yeah, that's why I said that's why I said like play a couple years. I know like when I said biggest what if, I thought about, oh man, Len Bias.
Yeah.
So like players that played a couple years.
Yeah, that's true. Plus Greg Oden would have been in a really good spot. It would have had a good solid 7 years because he would have been a good pro. I have no doubt that Greg Oden would have.
He showed proof. Like for like the couple games he did play, that he was going to be very good.
He was a guarantee.
It was just that, he was just so fragile.
Yeah, I feel that's to me that's the worst. That's the worst of the worst because it's like injuries. He can't help it. Because to me, he was a guarantee. Like he was going to be good. Like I knew from the jump he was going to be good.
So this is what I read, and why he got so many injuries. So Blazers, I guess they did some research about Greg Oden in Ohio State, and they realized like I think his feet were kind of like, I guess for lack of a better term, deformed. Like they weren't like level.
That's not great.
And they realized he wasn't wearing shoe soles fit for him. At least what the Trailblazers doctors didn't see that was fit for him. So they changed his shoe soles for his shoes.
Hilarious.
And from what I've read, that's been the cause of the foot injuries.
Really?
And the leg injuries. That's what I read.
That's crazy. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, man. Honestly, this is making me really, really, really depressed, especially the Brandon Roy. So, man, imagine if Brandon Roy never got injured. That makes me sad. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
I felt like I was about to say I felt like Brandon Roy would have been what Kobe was like towards that second half of his career without the athleticism. I thought that was Brandon Roy what he was going to become in the end. But
Brandon Roy to me
I was about to.
He was Lillard ahead of his time. That's literally what he was to me, at least. Like he was just Damian.
Yeah.
Like ahead, and Damian Lillard just took over the mantle. That's what it seems like to me. He was just a scorer.
That's why That's also feel like we don't talk much about Brandon Roy because Damian Lillard literally just seamlessly just came in and replaced Brandon Roy.
Yeah,
as the franchise guy.
Yeah, I don't think obviously like who knows, like Lillard probably wouldn't be playing for the Blazers, but like imagine if they were he wouldn't be playing, but imagine if they both played together. I mean, man, that would be a tandem. Man, that would have been
that could have been a championship.
Could have
with Aldridge. That could have been a championship.
I'm in the one.
I'm not going to say 100% when there's a LeBron. When there's a wild LeBron lurking, but I'm going to say,
I'm sorry, Brandon Roy.
Could have.
Brandon Roy, in my opinion, was going to be a first-team All-NBA guy. In my opinion, he was a first-team All-NBA guy. I think he would have genuinely beat out Kobe and Wade one year. 1 year he would have beat him out.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Brandon Roy currently a coach right now? I need to look it up. I believe he's currently a coach right now.
I think he was a high
Yeah, I think that's what he is.
For Hale, or he used to be.
Yeah, he's currently a head coach, a coach right now. It says an American basketball coach. So I'm gonna take your word for it. It says high school head coach.
Yeah, I think he was that.
But I did want to make this tidbit. If one just piggyback to Derrick Rose that. But I also seen something. I think it was probably from the Shadow Knicks podcast that Derrick Rose was actually trying to recruit LeBron to come join him to the Chicago Bulls before he went to the Heat.
That's funny.
And that LeBron was actually taking the Bulls seriously. He was toying with the Knicks. He was never taking the Knicks seriously, but he took the Bulls seriously. But yeah, it would have been funny because it wasn't about Derrick Rose who I was be enamored with. It was about how would he get along with Joakim Noah.
Yeah.
Who Joakim Noah was like the one player who openly hated LeBron.
By the way, massive shout out to Joakim Noah. Because Joakim Noah, people forget, Joakim Noah was the best center in the league.
If Joakim Noah was in his prime today, he would be unreal.
Nah, I don't
like
think he would be
for you don't think so? For smaller switchable centers that can play defense like Noah, I think it'll be unreal.
I think he would be massively undervalued because of the hand checking. I think he would be massively undervalued because of that. Because even, like, I know the hand checking has gone down significantly, and even when he played, it was still considered patty cake era, but he was...
That's what I'm saying.
He was still... Dude, imagine him being that physical today. He would be... Dude, he would have been kicked out, like, in the first half.
He'll be what Draymond is.
He would have been kicked out in the first half of the first quarter. Everything would be a foul. Dude, you see these players today. They get touched, brushed. They get called a foul. I'm sorry.
But every player will adapt. He would adapt to it. He would adapt to it. And a guy who's switchable like him that could defend the perimeter and interior, he'll be so valuable in today's NBA.
Like you would have to be a guy like Rudy where you're 7'2", 7'3", and just a really ridiculous wingspan to the point where you can reach over players and block them. Kind of like what Giannis does. Like, that's what you would have to be. And Jokic, not Jokic, Joakim. Joakim is just a very physical center. And that's what he is. He's a very physical center who's going to grab boards and make you work on the defensive end of the court. And that's just not what the NBA is today. And I think he would be screwed. I really think he would have been screwed in this era. I felt
like he would have adapted.
I think he's terrific, by the way. I think if he was able to play defense in this league, I'm just saying, like, I don't think that this league would allow him to play the way he would want to play, is what I'm saying. I don't think that the league would let him do his thing. And I think that would fuck with him, and I don't think he would be as good. He's one of
we could agree to disagree.
He's the most underrated center of all time, in my opinion. But I will say that he is the most underrated center ever. I will say that.
Okay.
All right. So
I could agree with that part, but
you think you'd be good? Because he's 6'11", small wingspan. Can't shoot worth a damn.
I mean, how many big centers are here today? PJ Tucker plays center now. Jeff Green plays center now.
Yeah, but
like, there's not many big centers today. Thaddeus Young plays center now.
But none of those guys are as bad of shooters as Joakim. Joakim literally can't shoot outside of 7 feet.
He was okay mid-range shooter.
No, he wasn't. Don't even say that.
He was a passable.
No, he wasn't.
I'm talking about early. I'm not talking about later in his career where he kind of lost confidence in it. In the beginning of his career, he was a passable mid-range shooter.
He wasn't. He was never a good mid-range shooter. Even at Florida, or even in his first couple years in the league, he was not a good mid-range shooter. He couldn't shoot. That wasn't his.
He was a good passer. And that would translate in today's NBA. Absolutely. Especially when they're letting centers do more things other than just stand near the post. He will probably be handling the ball a little bit more. Actually, I think he'll be terrific in today's NBA. How many
texts would that man have gotten too? He would have gotten thousands of texts.
Oh yeah, he'll get a couple suspensions. That's guaranteed. But I mean, I still feel like he'll be terrific in today's NBA.
I'm not saying that Joakim's not a good player, by the way. I just want to point that out to you.
I know. I got you.
The NBA sucks, and they need to figure this crap out because players like Joakim Noah aren't going to come around anymore. That's all I'm saying. That's the main point. Honestly, we need more Joakims.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how we were talking about what if LeBron's on the Chicago Bulls, and then we just transition to see like how Joakim know. Wait, what was our original topic, anyways?
The Knicks were our original topic.
Yo, we never give the Knicks any respect.
No.
We just end up talking about something else.
Well, that's true. Yeah, we talked about Derrick Rose and all these guys. Yeah, no mention of Leon Rose ever during this podcast, by the way, who has done an absolute
shouts out to Leon Rose, by the way.
Excellent job with the New York Knicks operation. By the way, I saw this topic on ESPN, and I just want to see your reaction to it because I think it's hilarious. The question was, would you consider this season a disappointment if the Knicks lost in the first round of the playoffs?
You know what? Just following my statement that I want to see a Knicks-Nets playoff series, I'll say yes, because that's what I want to see, a Knicks-Nets playoff series.
Yeah, okay,
that would be great. I want to see that.
The question was, would
you
consider it a disappointment? You remember at the beginning of the season, you did not believe.
Oh, for the Knicks or for the NBA?
No, for the Knicks.
Oh, no, definitely not. I thought it meant it will be a disappointment for the NBA for the Knicks.
If the Knicks don't make the Eastern Conference Finals as a disappointment for the NBA, let's be honest. We want to see Nets.
Okay, no.
Nets Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's what I want to see.
I'll be bummed that the Knicks don't make it, but you know what? It depends how they lose. If they lose like in 5, then that's a disappointment because you're going to get all these fans' hopes up that they're going to be so good and they're going to just wet the bed. But if they lose in 7 or 6, then I say it's not a disappointment.
If they lose in 7 or 6, I would say that's good. In my opinion, that's good. But in my opinion, even if they get swept, I think it's a great year.
No, they get swept. That's a disappointment.
Why?
You're going to get all these fans' hopes up, and then you get swept.
But nobody thought that they were even going to make the playoffs at the beginning of the year.
Yes, but if you get swept, that just leaves all the optimism out. Like if you lose by 6 or 7, that gives some optimism for next season. But if you get swept, how does that feel? Ex-Raptors, how that feel? Their coach still got fired when Dwayne Casey still got fired when they got swept. Like they were number 1. They were number 1 seed. Dwayne Casey got fired. That was a disappointment for them. So
yeah, but Toronto had expectations. The Knicks didn't.
Did they have expectations to beat LeBron? They shouldn't have. They got swept.
I would actually say that it's actually better for this team to get swept in the first round of the playoffs. And here's why. Here's my argument why. Okay. 1, losing to Trae Young. That should already just leave a bad taste in your stomach. 1. That's just number 1. Number 2, if they get swept for a Thibodeau team and for a team this young, I think that Thibodeau would be very hard on them and just be like, look, this is what happens. And I think he would be straight with them. I think he would be hard. And I think that guys like Julius
didn't work for the Timberwolves.
But the Timberwolves had guys like Karl Anthony Towns and Wiggins. This team has Randall and RJ Barrett, 2 guys who are religiously talked about as hard workers, especially RJ. RJ's work ethic, honestly, when it comes to these chat boards, I think he might be a legendary workout guy, to be honest with you. And I think the combination of him and Tibbs,
he's loved around Reddit.
I do. But I think that that loss, sitting with those guys and how competitive they are and how they would set the tone at the very beginning of the season, honestly, I think that they would be a 2 seed next year. And I think it would be better for the team. Sit with that loss all year.
2 seed. Ooh, that's stretching it.
Well, here's the thing. RJ has another level to go. He still has another level. Maybe that comes early, right? Maybe quickly he's going to take another level. Randall, technically speaking, could still take another level. All of these guys are super young. Toppin's going to get better. And
Nets would have chemistry.
Also, Mitchell Robinson, we're forgetting. Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, I know.
And then maybe Kevin Knox figures it out. Who knows? Maybe Kevin Knox is good. Who knows?
What's next? Frank Ntilikina is going to get 20 minutes a game?
No, he's coming back. We're going to put him down into the Worcester Knicks, and then we're going to bring him back. He's going to be really good. But all I'm saying, these guys are young, and these guys are going to get better. Who knows? Because if they're still the best defensive team in the league and they get better offensively from a lot of these rookies that go into year 2, RJ Barrett going to year 3, taking another step, who knows? Because RJ is going to take another step, right? Like that's just going to happen.
Nets. Oh yeah. But Nets are getting more chemistry.
100%.
Philadelphia will have another year of Doc Rivers.
Perfect.
Bucks still got Giannis.
Yeah.
Celtics might get their shit together.
No, probably not.
Hawks are going to get better. If they
Depends.
give Nate McMillan a contract, I don't know why he's still an interim coach.
Depends on what
That's beyond me.
Depends on what they do with Collins, and depends on Trae Young's play style.
And Travis Langley get it together. And yeah,
And the Heat-
so
and the Heat too.
I'm just saying, like, the Heat could get. I mean, the Heat could have Jimmy Butler for a full season, so that means they'll be good.
Yeah.
So like, I'm saying the Knicks could be good, but 2 seed already, I don't know about that.
I'm just saying next year maybe they get a free agent. I don't know.
And
This free agent class is pretty good, right?
we forget to say this is still the New York Knicks at the end of the day. Their owner is still James Dolan. From what I've been watching from this podcast and from what I remember from revisionist history, usually when they're good one year, usually James Dolan will do something to fuck up the team and the chemistry, and then they'll go back to being bad. So usually
3-year max.
That's usually what happens.
3-year max. 3 years. So we have 3 or 2 years, depending on if this is Melo. If this is the Melo years, this is 2 years. If this
Linsanity gone.
Yeah, if this is that.
Isaiah Thomas coaching the team, they were good for a second. Scandal gone. This has been happening every single time with the Knicks. Like I'm hip to it.
All I'm saying is
they
that
could very well be a screw up next season.
The one thing that you can't say is that they've never had a core this good, a core this young and this good.
Okay, this young. Okay,
yeah, well, I should have prefaced that, but actually, in the past 20 years, this is probably the best team they've had. Just the way they've played, I should say. Not from the collection of talent.
Because I keep thinking of Melo, Amari Stoudemire, sometimes Jeremy Lin.
That's the only thing. You know, from
Raymond Felton, Amari Stoudemire.
On paper, that team was really good. But I mean, you know, still second round. You know, and this team is probably.
You could argue this is the best team since '99. You can argue that.
A really good case. That's all I'm saying. So I mean, next year they're going to bring back the same guys. I mean, shoot, you never know. Because like you said, everybody else gets another year of experience. This team gets another year of experience, and they're younger, and they have talent, and they have Thibodeau, and they got defense. That's all I'm saying. Hey, you never know.
You know what was funny? When I saw this Thibodeau hire, I just like, oh man, RJ Barrett's knees are going to be destroyed for the rest of his career. Boy, was I wrong. Yeah. Yo, that was what they needed. I let the Timberwolves bad management cloud my judgment of the coach Thibodeau really is. Yeah. I forgot. They made me forget. It made me think that Thibodeau's coaching style could not translate in today's NBA. Yeah. But from what I've been seeing, that Thibodeau tried to adapt to today's NBA, and it's been working.
Yeah, it has. It's been great. Looks like we're starting to run down on time, so I want to get into some of this play-in stuff real quick, because it seems like the top 6 seeds for each conference is set. I mean, for the time being. I mean, obviously the top 6 in the Western Conference can change in an instant depending on what the Lakers decide to do. However, the play-in games. You want to start with the East or the West? Because I'm very intrigued.
Let's start with the East, since the East are kind of closer in record.
Yeah. Okay, so the East play-in games is going to go like this. If the records stay the way they are, which is more than likely going to happen unless the Pacers just decide to lose all the rest of their games and the Bulls decide to turn it on.
Very likely.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But it'll be Boston versus Charlotte, and then the Wizards versus the Pacers. Both of these games, I'm not going to lie, I really like for various reasons. I like the Boston game because I get to see LaMelo and this very underrated Charlotte team. And then I also get to see Boston lose, more than likely, because they're just so ISO heavy. It's ridiculous. No defense will be
pretty certain.
Yeah, no defense will be played that game, and it'll be great. And then the Pacers versus the Wizards, which is basically the most dysfunctional team versus the second most dysfunctional team in the league.
Dysfunction.
Yeah, dysfunction. I'm not gonna lie. Again, disagreeing with the King here. I'm very excited. I love both of these games for various reasons.
All right. When the King get a shutdown from YouTube, keep disagreeing with the King.
Yeah, what do you think is gonna happen in these games? Because I gotta tell you, I got Charlotte.
Charlotte's winning.
Yeah, I got Charlotte. I think it's easy money. By the way, I just want to throw this out there. I don't know if we've talked about this yet. Malik Monk, can I get some respect here? Did I not call it? He came back.
When you were talking about we should wait for players turning 27, 28, for him, at least give him 5 years in the NBA first. Let him figure it out. I read an article by Malik Monk too. Is like Charlotte is like one of the few teams in that draft class that actually kept one of their lottery picks. A lot of teams gave up their players by now. They still have faith in him. They did an unconventional path. He wasn't performing well. They didn't trade him. They didn't just like drop him from the rotation. They still kept playing him until he figured it out. And now he's looking like a decent rotation piece off the bench, a decent scoring spark off the bench. Give you 10 a game in 21 minutes.
Let's hope that Lonnie Walker is the same guy. Let's pray. Yeah. Do you think that Boston's ever going to figure it out, or do you think that it's kind of just over? Because to me, this whole Marcus Smart thing, thinking he's the best player ever, this whole ISO heavy system, this whole Robert Williams has the 6th highest PER.
They needed Thibodeau.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Do you think that they're going to figure it out, or do you think that they're going to get bounced? Because even if they lose, they're still going to get another chance.
They remind me of the Sixers of Brett Brown now, where I just feel like just Brad Stevens. I love Brad Stevens. I still think he's a great coach, but it's just there's just this thing that just being a coach for a team too long and you haven't really won anything. It's just that eventually that same voice year by year just gets more tiring and tiring. And I think that's just what's happening, that the players are just going in business for themselves because they don't really have faith in the coach like that anymore. They probably still like him. They probably still cool with him, but his words are not resonating with the team anymore. And they're just going through the motions. And boy, Danny Ainge must be regretting letting Rozier go for Kemba Walker. That is literally costing him right now.
Hang on. Kemba Walker has been playing very well for the last 10 games. Just want to throw that out there.
Last 10 games.
Hey.
Rozier just dropped 42 points last night.
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, yeah, you're probably right. So are you saying that Brad Stevens has lost the locker room? Is that what you're saying?
I look, I love Brad Stevens. I was one of the people saying that, like, look, if you fire Brad Stevens, who are you going to hire? But it's just like watching them play. It's just like, what else is the problem? They got the talent. They got a franchise cornerstone player in Tatum. They got another guy you could argue is a franchise cornerstone in Jaylen Brown. They got an inconsistent but still decent point guard in Kemba Walker. They got a player who's a very good defender, but needs discipline on the offensive end.
I don't think he's as good of a defender as he used to be. I think he's kind of...
And you know what? I just think you need a coach that could allow fire in Marcus Smart again, just so he could be that defender and just tell him to stop taking so many damn 3-point shots when you can't shoot. Just like, is this someone that can light a fire in him to tell him that? And just someone to tell Tristan Thompson to stop hanging out with the Kardashians after every single game and be focused. Maybe they need a different coach that can tell them that. Because the thing is, like, with Brad Stevens is great. But I think there's just always has to be something to be said. Like, even when Kyrie was there, that just having a coach there with no, like, playing experience or, like, at the collegiate or basketball or NBA levels, like, sometimes with players, like, no matter, like, what your accolades are, unless you're, like, Popovich or Phil Jackson type accolades, like, they're not going to respect you. That was with Kyrie. I feel like Tristan Thompson has that. You could say Jason Tatum. I don't know what the situation is with Tatum, but you could say he has that too. I mean, he grew up around NBA circles.
Yeah.
So, like,
who knows?
Maybe that's a problem. Maybe they need a guy who played in the collegiate or professional ranks, so they can respect them more.
So you have him losing to Charlotte. Do you have
no question?
You have them losing to the Wizards? I'm assuming that the Wizards are going to win that game. Obviously, Indiana could be dangerous.
Who's defending Westbrook? Who on that team's defending Westbrook?
Who's defending?
I guess Smart.
Okay, should we flip this question?
Who's defending Westbrook and Beal? Who's defending Westbrook and Beal?
Who's defending anybody in that game?
Touche.
So, I think that's just going to be, let's just see who makes the most threes this game. Let's just see who can make the most. And I got to tell you, I would probably take Tatum and Brown, to be honest.
But Brown is not going to be playing. That's why I said Charlotte's winning, no question. Because if Brown was playing, I would say that Celtics could win, but Brown is out.
But what about what's his name?
Evan Fournier.
No, Robert Williams. He has the 6th highest PER in the league.
Yeah. Yeah. I got Wizards. I'm sorry. I got Wizards.
So you have the Wizards making it in as an 8 seed, really?
I just can't believe in the Celtics right now unless Tatum has some epiphany and realize he needs to play within the flow of the offense and start isoing like he's Kobe every single possession. Then yeah, I got the Wizards and I got Charlotte.
I hope that happens because if that happens and I was right, that would be hilarious. Yeah, so something I thought you would never say. You're actually picking the Wizards to make the playoffs. I don't think you would have agreed with that statement at the beginning of this.
I think I was no. I don't mind the Wizards. It's just that I like to hate on them more because I'm usually on a YouTube show Friday with a bunch of DC fans, so I try to just be antagonizing against every Washington team.
Well, you don't have to do that. But Dan Snyder does that for themselves.
I mean, that's true. That's true. But especially with the Wizards, though, like I definitely like to pick on the Wizards because they think the Wizards are so good, and I just let them know, like, no, the team is trash.
Yeah, they were really good.
Take out Bradley Beal, and they're bottom feeders. At least that was before Westbrook.
No, listen, man. They have to reminisce. Their favorite players are like Antoine Jameson because he scored 20,000 points somehow, and Gilbert Arenas, who is Gilbert Arenas. That's their inspiration.
Shouts out to Javaris Crediton, Atlanta native.
Yeah, shout out to the Second Amendment. And let's go ahead and hop over to the West Conference. So the Western Conference play-in game, first game, absolute banger. I don't know if we talked about this at the beginning or if we talked about this off the air. Lakers, Warriors, this is the reason why play-in games should absolutely happen every single year. This is basically watching Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. This is just as good. Just as good.
Is it going to be staged like that too? Are they going to have stage pre-fights like that?
LeBron is going to be reading Hunger Games again. Curry's going to be doing his whole dance. It's going to be great. This is probably, I'm not going to lie, I don't care what else happens. This might be my favorite game of the entire playoffs. How do you feel? This might be my favorite game.
I'll say, you know what? This definitely gives a lot of nostalgia. Just the LeBron, Steph Curry rivalry in such a weird place like a play-in tournament.
The best part?
Not in the finals.
The best part? It's just going to be them. No help from anybody.
There's a guy named Anthony Davis.
Well,
I mean, I could say something.
Is he going to be back? Because I know he's in and out all the time, and nobody knows if he's 100%.
I feel like for the play-in tournament, he's going to be back. Okay. For the play-in tournament. Yeah, he was playing just the other day.
Not great.
Hey, Caruso said like the beast is coming back out again. That's what Caruso said. So
I guess we'll see. But yeah, I think that game is going to be awesome. I just think this is going to be. All right, I'm going to be wild. I'm going to say it. I think Curry's going to hit 60 this game. I really do. You know when you have a gut feeling that something.
I mean, that's not a stretch.
I mean, I feel like a 60, maybe a 70-point game is coming because I feel like Curry's really gonna care. I feel like this is a game that everybody wants. This is a game that everybody needs, and this is a prime. This is one of those games. This is just such a setup. I don't know. This just feels like the NBA made this happen. This just feels like such a conspiracy. This is the most conspiracy thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Because this is.
I can see it now. Curry just cooking. Hitting crossovers, making Caruso fall, hitting contested 3-point shots 45 feet away from the jump from the hoop, where players could not defend him at all, and he's just doing his dance. He's just cooking. He got fans screaming. He got kids cheering. Then he passes the ball to Andrew Wiggins, and he steps out of bounds, and Lakers win.
Well, that was a sad ending. That was a sad ending. I don't know. I just feel
that's what I got.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. I'll call it here. I'm gonna say Steph Curry 100% score 73 points. I'm calling it here. I can feel it. Feel it in my bones. Grizzlies Spurs, also another game that I think is absolutely terrific. I like the Grizzlies.
Is that bias or no bias?
It's extreme bias. Extreme Len bias. Extreme bias. I don't know. It's just I don't know. You don't like these teams. You don't like you don't like the way the Spurs are playing. You don't like Ja Morant. You're not feeling it.
No, I'm feeling it, but
you're not feeling it.
You said like. I mean, no, I'm feeling it, but I don't know if it's gonna be like super exciting.
I'm super excited, dude. Look. The Spurs have the best mid-range shooter of all time in DeMar DeRozan.
Oh my goodness, mid-range shooting, 2 points, baby.
Hey, listen,
2 points.
Listen, that's the most guaranteed 2 points you're ever gonna get in your entire life. DeRozan from mid. That's all I'm saying. Bunch of spark plug young guys. Nobody who is an offensive force at all. Just a bunch of spark plug 12-point a game guys. And I love it. I'm not going to lie. I love Spurs basketball. Just one 20-point a game guy. And then the rest of them just role players who can just spark plug for 20 every other game or 3 points, just depending on them.
Hey, Keldon Johnson gets 16 a game. Thank you.
Keldon Johnson also, I believe, scored 8 points a game. 8 points like yesterday or the day before. It just depends on the day. But he's been great. I love Ja Morant. He's top 10. He's my top. He
seems a bit angry lately. I'm just talking about like off the court. Upset. He seems a bit angry.
He's thoroughly upset. He's mad that he
seems like just mad at the world right now.
He's mad that he has to play in this play-in game. He thought the Grizzlies would be better this year. He's just mad. He's just mad. And I love Ja Morant. Ja Morant is literally a top 10 player, top 10 players for me that I like to watch. He's in my top 10. So
when asked him who's his top 5 point guards, he says, "I'm a top 5 point guard."
I'm with him.
That's when.
I'm with that.
I don't know why he said he wouldn't be a top 5 point guard. Like I gotta say that too.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a great game. I think the Spurs are gonna blow them out by 40. But I think it's gonna be a great game. I think it's gonna be great.
I think it's gonna be an okay game, and I'd say the Grizzlies winning pretty easily.
To my face.
I see the Grizzlies winning.
So disrespectful. So who do you see Lakers or Warriors? Just out of curiosity, who do you have in that game?
I just told you, Lakers.
You don't think
I told you.
You don't think that Steph blows them out by 30?
I think Steph tries to, but then he realizes he has Michael Mulder on his team. He realizes that's Andrew Wiggins on the team. He realizes that's Kelly Oubre on his team. He realizes that's Jordan Poole on his team. He realizes he has Juan Toscano Anderson. Okay, he's all right. He's all right. But I mean, still, like, you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, Kelly Oubre is like the best shooter of all time, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah, when turtles can fly, yeah.
Well, you can disrespect Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins, two of the best ISO scorers I've ever seen in my entire life.
Then you haven't seen much.
I sure haven't. I don't know, man. So how are you feeling about about the play-in tournaments in general? Do you think that this is going to be a good or a bad thing? Because that's really what this is, right? It's a test. We're going to see if it works. Do you think it's going to be work, or do you think it's going to be?
Well, like we said in the beginning of the show, we talked about this. Like I said, I like it.
I'm just saying
I just don't think it's fair.
After hearing about it, after hearing the matchups, after hearing all that, you still feel the same? You don't feel
still the same thing? Yeah, I like it. Look. If you're gonna ask me, there's more basketball on TV. I'm gonna like it.
That's true.
Especially when the stipulations are like this, I'm gonna like it.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, if it's fair, I'm just saying I can't agree that it's fair, but I like it.
Yeah.
Now, if I was a best player on a team that plays for LA, and I come back from a serious injury where I say I might not be 100% again, and I got to go play in this play-in tournament with a team with a losing record could get in and I could get out, then I'm going to say someone who made up this shit should be fired. I'll say the same thing. I don't blame LeBron for saying that. I'll say the same thing because it ain't fair. If I'm a player playing in it, I won't be happy. Like, look, we in the 7th seed. Why we are in jeopardy to lose our spot? But for a fan, I like it.
Yeah, play better. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm with you. I want to send a shout out to OKC as usual. Gonna get a top 5 pick this year. And
Blue. OKC Blue.
Yeah, OKC Blue gonna get a top 5 pick, another young recruit. And just going to develop this young AAA roster. And hopefully...
Yo, did you see the Thunder... OKC Blue versus Golden State? Did you see that game?
Great game.
Yo, Moses Brown was food.
Food.
Steph Curry was picking on him. Like, he was bullying that young kid. Like, every time, like, Moses Brown was on the floor, he got Draymond Green on Moses Brown so they could do a pick and roll. So they could have Moses Brown on Steph Curry. And they know Moses Brown was not coming to the 3-point line.
Yeah.
So Steph Curry just had an open 35-foot shot every single time.
That was the thing about that game. That game, they were just trying to match 3-pointers. The whole game, and I'm just like, why are y'all shooting? Like, y'all are.
How can you match 3-point shooters with the best shooter of all time? How are you going to match 3-point shots?
I don't know, man. That game, what's his name? Ty Jerome was feeling himself.
He was until he wasn't.
Yeah, until he wasn't. Yeah, I just want to say this real quick, because the one player that would absolutely complete this team would be Evan Mobley. If OKC somehow gets Evan Mobley, the league fucked up. That's all I want to say. Because if that happens,
so if they have the number 1 pick, should they draft Cade Cunningham or Evan Mobley?
Mobley. Well,
I could agree with you, but I just feel like that's not.
I don't know.
I could agree with you because they got a similar player already in SGA. But
if you having the same player, which would be a matchup nightmare, to be fair.
That's true.
I mean, to be honest, I can see either way. You can go in either direction because I don't think OKC has another wing that would be as valuable as a Cade Cunningham. So I mean, but at the same time,
yeah, I feel like
I think I said this
if you're
before.
a team that bad,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, my bad. I was just saying, if you're a team that bad, you just got to draft the best player available. And Cade Cunningham right now is a consensus number 1 pick at this point.
I agree. It's just Evan Mobley he's special, man. Like, he's going to be good.
Cade Cunningham is special.
He is. But you heard me say this before. It's much harder to find a big man who is very talented than finding a guard who's very talented, especially in today's era.
A 6'8" guard who is very talented.
It's becoming a lot more common than you think.
And the players who are very talented at 6'8", what are they? Already one of the best players in the NBA, Luka Doncic.
Yeah, but look who's going to be MVP. A big man.
Yeah.
Jokic. And who was going to be the MVP before him? Embiid. If you have a center who's really good, your team is just going to be good. That's just how it works. And I think that and Anthony Davis is another prime example. You know, that team was in the Western Conference, still got dragged to 8-9 seeds every single year just because Anthony Davis was that good. And I think that I think Evan Mobley has a legit chance because he's two-way, and two-way players are always good. Two-way superstars in college are always good, and he can also shoot threes. Look, he's basically a complete Wiseman. He's basically Wiseman but complete to me.
But you were saying the same thing about Wiseman, and I was telling you that I wasn't really too sold on Wiseman. So
Wiseman had moments, dude, and Wiseman is 18 years old.
Keyword moments.
He's also 19 years old and played 3 collegiate basketball games.
That's why I didn't want to draft him that high.
Yeah, but he looked awesome sometimes.
For 3 games.
Okay, well, dude, this is the same thing because if he goes off in 3 years, this conversation is like pointless.
That's true. We just talked about it. We gotta give players patience.
Yeah, and especially a guy like Wiseman, who's literally a teenager. He's literally a teenager, so I can't hold anything against him. I did that against LaMelo Ball. I'm not doing that anymore.
Yes, you did.
And I learned.
Yes, you did. You know what?
I learned from my mistakes.
We always end with you talking about how you fucked up on LaMelo Ball. So let's end up with that. So this is the sports edition, first episode of May. Mm-hmm. So, Jacee, any final words?
Thank you. This is a random one. Thank you to Josh Langford for your years of service at Michigan State. Finally retired. So I just want to send a quick shout out to Joshua Langford. I hope you play for the Austin Spurs this coming off season.
All right. Shouts out to Joshua Langford. And this is Seyi, Jacee, estimate November 23, and we out.
Peace.